Here we are at the beginning of another week in Ireland, and let's turn our attention towards Garda Síochána, the guardians of the police, in particular their commissioner Drew Harris, who was put on the spot today by Ben Scallon from Grip Media concerning an article that had been published last week after a Freedom of Information request had been lodged to do with Gardaí recruitment, specifically in IPAS centres or International Protection Accommodation Services centres, which of course is home for many asylum seekers. And we know that there are many people entering Ireland and remaining in Ireland. We don't know anything about them. We don't know who we are. So what a ludicrous suggestion that Garda Síochána could be going to places like that to recruit for members of the Gardaí. Surely that can't be right, can it? Well, today, Drew Harris was put on the spot. I'm going to show you a clip here and hang around until the end of this video, because in the background, behind Drew Harris, you'll see a big blue Garda vehicle. Now, it turns out that this is a new piece of kit that they have procured in terms of it being labelled as a water cannon to take care of public order disturbances. But I want you to pay particular attention to what is mounted on top of the water cannon. What it might be, I don't know. They haven't released the details yet, but there's speculation going around, and it's just speculation that there might be more to this water cannon than meets the eye. So let's get into it. Let's hear what Drew has to say. Jumping the gun here. And this is interesting also because he's almost fact-checked in real time by his own press officer. And you can see these two hapless people behind him haven't got a clue what's going on either when he turns to both of them for support. The man is floundering. The man is a dead loss. And if the news is to be believed, he'll be gone by the autumn time. But let's hear what Drew has to say when he's questioned about recruitment from IPAS centres.
Commissioner, the report that was launched today speaks at length about respecting and promoting diversity within Garda Síochána, and obviously one ways that the Gardaí have sought to do that is by having recruitment sessions at IPAS centres, and obviously that's one of many venues. I appreciate that it's a wide net that's being cast, but do you think it's appropriate to seek to recruit people from these centres, given that we don't know the legitimacy of whether they are in fact who they say they are, if they are asylum seekers legitimately, and they could potentially not even be in the state 6 months from now? Is that really a good and appropriate use of police resources?
I'm not entirely sure what you're referring to, because Garda members in fact have to be either Irish or EU citizen, and a stamp 4 cannot join in Garda Síochána as a Garda member.
According to FOI documents that was released to my publication a couple of weeks ago.
Look at he's got the Micheál Martin, Simon Harris face. He's been watching Simon Harris. This man is a dead loss. He claims he doesn't know what is being talked about here. He knows fine rightly. He claims he doesn't understand this and he doesn't understand that. If this is the commissioner for Garda Síochána, who is completely clueless about this issue, in his own words, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't think that's how things work. Only to be embarrassed publicly on this stage. What does that say? What does that say about the state of Garda Síochána? Never mind what I think or even what you think. What does this show you about the state of Garda Síochána?
It's confirmed that over the last couple of years, since 2022, there have been these recruitment sessions held by Garda Síochána since 2022 at least.
So in IPAS centres?
Yeah, explicitly so.
How would we do that? No, I'm quite confused because...
Look at him looking over his shoulder to these two goons. And the guy to his left, your right, just maintains his blank expression. The lady on his right, your left, nods.
As I say, Irish or EU citizen stamp 4 are prohibited from joining the Garda Síochána as a Garda member. May join as Garda staff and indeed have been doing so. So someone seeking asylum and with the national detection system, there's no route through for them but joining the Garda Síochána.
So would you have any reaction, I suppose, then to the news that, I mean, as recently as February of this year, these recruitment sessions were being held, and
I'll have to look to that further because I honestly that is entirely news to me. And I say like I think probably what you're talking about is outreach sessions to IPAS centres so that people understand the role of Garda Síochána as a community-based policing service here in Ireland. I know those go on. I don't think those could remotely considered as recruitment sessions.
I don't know. You know, there's been a whole hullabaloo around Garda recruitment this year. We know for a fact that when it comes to the normally stringent vetting process that is involved in becoming a full member of Garda Síochána, questions were asked about that, even in the Dáil. And the response was, what is vetting anyway? What is it? We know that vetting was relaxed for recruits going through Templemore. We were told that it would be fully completed by the time any guard would pass out. But it was relaxed, or it was altered vetting, adapted vetting that was going on while some people were still in training. We know there were PR exercises and recruitment drives done in mosques. That's a fact. The evidence is out there. There's videos on it in this channel going back towards the start of the year. Have a dig out for them or find them anywhere else. And now the IPAS Centre, Freedom of Information request, that was released to say that this was happening. And now we have Harris claiming he doesn't know anything about it, or it's news to him, or he's looking around over his shoulders at these pair behind him who offer not a word of support. But in the lady's case, that's the response. And now you're going to hear from the press officer. Fact check in real time.
That's how it was labelled in the FOI.
If I could just make one clarification there, the candidate booklet for applicants to join in Garda Síochána clearly states that under the International Protection Act, people who have got certain declarations and have achieved certain residency are entitled to apply. Once they apply, they then go through the same stringent vetting that any other member of a Garda Síochána will go through. Okay. It's in the booklets up on our website.
So they are eligible to apply
if they meet certain requirements.
So there you have it. They are eligible if they meet certain requirements, rather than they can't do it. They can't do it. Fact checked in real time. At the end of the press briefing, the Garda press officer fact check Harris' claim, confirming Commissioner is mistaken and that IPAS applicants can indeed join Garda Síochána. That's Grip's take on it. Other people are commenting to say that the words are being twisted. But either way, you can make up your own mind. And I said about that water cannon in the background, or this blue vehicle, it doesn't appear in this report. It's got nothing to do with this report. But other reports were forthcoming. Someone was doing a walkabout, and those are the vehicles that are pictured behind Harris, I believe. At least this big blue one is anyway. That's my take on it. But this is a new water cannon that's been purchased by Garda Síochána to quell public disturbances, public order disturbances. And a lot of people have been commenting on this black square sitting atop the water cannon. Now, many people will say, well, it's just a loudspeaker to tell people maybe to clear the way, to get off the streets, and one thing and another. Maybe it is. But there have been instances in Australia and in Serbia where police used, allegedly, sonic weapons to disperse crowd that causes disorientation and headaches. Maybe clarification can be made from Garda Síochána that this is just a pure water cannon, there are no other elements to it. But again, questions are being asked, and if there's nothing to hide, well then they should be able to stand up to scrutiny. And what public order disturbances are they expecting? There's been a lot of people on the streets this year, but every protest that I've seen has been completely peaceful. Certainly not involving the need for a water cannon. Seen a lot of Garda on the streets, Gardaí on the streets, seen the public order units, Dublin, Carrickmacross, Cork, helicopters flying. No trouble. Not saying there can't be trouble, but are they expecting something that will be unmanageable by their normal methods of policing? I'm asking questions, that's all I'm doing. I'm not making any definitive statements, I'm just an observer. That's all I am. I ask questions, I throw it out there, I try and provoke thought and encourage conversation. So let me know what you think below on Drew Harris' recruitment strategy. Who may be coming to replace him? Who gets the poison chalice? And the procurement and potential deployment of water cannon plus ? Maybe on the streets of Ireland sometime soon. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please consider doing so. Consider joining the channel if you haven't done so. You'll get access to a Q&A video that I record every week for channel members, where you get to ask me stuff and I respond to it directly in a recording for channel members. Maybe that's something you're interested in, maybe it's not. Either way, keep watching, keep sharing, keep commenting, cut and paste the links, dump them wherever you like. I'm Rick Munn, this is No Risk, No Reward Media, over and out.